Stephen Bassett is our special guest this hour, Exonation. He is the hardest working advocate for the truth to get out there, or to find out what the truth is, what the government, if anything, is hiding, that I know. And Stephen, what is the best website for our listeners to find out more about you, and as well as to find out more about the petition?
Well, the main website for PRG is paradigmresearchgroup.org, but the petition information site is disclosurepetition.info. And, of course, as soon as the petition is submitted the morning of February 23rd, the direct link to it will go up at that site immediately. So people can go there, jump right over to the White House, and if they don't have an account already, they can set up their account with We the People, log in, sign the petition. If they already do, then they can sign the petition.
Tell me, has anyone ever said, geez, I don't want to do that because I don't want the government to know who I am in case the men in black start chasing me?
There are a few people that are reluctant to do it for that reason. That's fine. That's fine. No problem. They don't need to worry. I mean, there's been several million signatures put up there. They can't run down all this kind of stuff, and they don't do that. This issue is not under that kind of government intervention now.
Stephen, what is the prime purpose of having the government, if they have any of this information, to say let's say President Obama came out and he said, you know what, it was made, the decision to keep this information close to heart was done in a matter of national security.
That's exactly what they're going to say. The point I was making before is this.
Yeah.
The Cold War was the problem. I mean, some people have forgotten how extraordinary the situation was. At the peak, there were like, I think, 80,000 nuclear weapons in 5 countries, thousands of them on trigger alert. Hair trigger alert could go off at any time. We nearly had a nuclear war on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
So they made the decision that the ET issue had to be contained, managed under those circumstances. And so the short statement is that as long as the Cold War was underway, the ET issue was going to be managed, was going to be contained. I'm not going to argue with that. And it's not an argument I would want to have. And it was perfectly legal. They had national security reasons. Now, when the Cold War ends in 91 is when everything changes. After the Cold War ends, the justification for withholding the most extraordinary information that the human race has ever been privy to from the world's people starts to fade very quickly.
You know, a few minutes ago you were talking about how the thing with Monica Lewinsky got the press going, and you know how Clinton was impeached. He was impeached by the House of Representatives, but he was cleared by the Senate.
Right.
But anyway, if the President of the United States cannot have a presidential affair between the Oval Office and the presidential John without the entire world knowing, how in the name of God, with everything that we have today at our disposal, the media and everything else, how can they have suppressed the information of UFOs for 65 years? It does not make any sense.
Well, they contained it.
But how can they contain it?
What they contained was the acknowledgement. In other words, the one thing they had to avoid was being put into a position where it had to formally acknowledge the extraterrestrial presence, the truth of it. And that's what that's the best they could do. I mean, the extraterrestrials can come and go and do as they please, and so consequently they couldn't contain that. Mm-hmm. However, they could avoid the acknowledgement, and that was the principal goal of the truth embargo. And they succeeded in that regard. No nation has ever acknowledged the extraterrestrial
Stephen,
presence.
I hate to do this, but we've run out of time. Stephen Bassett has been our guest this hour, Exonation. When I come back from the news, more of the X-Zone at 6.5 minutes past the hour, right here from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.